Welcome to today's webinar on curriculum structure and elements of UFP Urban Fellows Programme. I am Neethi, Senior Researcher and a faculty at IIHS. I have my colleague Sheetal here, Senior Researcher and faculty. Urban Fellows Programme is IIHS's flagship program. It's a full-time taught residential program. And this program teaches you on how to think about urban through different interdisciplinary lenses and through different vantage points. So no matter whatever your disciplinary training is, this program will help you to understand urban from these vantage points. And this program, could we see the PowerPoint, please? So this program structured across three terms, commons term, electives term, and practice term. It is in this first term, that is commons term is where we kind of collectively or jointly create a vocabulary or a language around urban. And this then helps us to move towards the next term, that is the electives term. It's in this electives term that whatever knowledge you have gathered or concepts or theory you have gathered from the commons terms then helps the fellows to choose 4 to 6 electives across 4 elective cycles of their choice. And then after this term then helps you to move to the third term, that is the practice term. And practice term has 3 streams. One is the fellows can either be part of IIHS's live project, or fellows can undertake independent research projects, or they can even go for internships. Let's take a closer look at the commons term. So as I had mentioned earlier, in this term, how do we, when I mentioned that we create a kind of common vocabulary collectively, right? How do we do that? We do that by, teaching core 6 themes. And these themes are built environment and planning, infrastructure and services, urban economy, identity and social practice, urban ecology, environment and sustainability, law, governance and policy. These are the core 6 themes we teach in this term. Along with that, another major component of this term, that is the commons term, is Practica. Practica is the interdisciplinary studio based in Bangalore's neighborhood. So Practica then helps the fellows, whatever concepts and theories and the questions and concerns or interest you have developed in this commons term, then helps the fellows to take these to the real world or the real neighborhood or the real city and see how does that work. Along with this, it also gives the fellows an opportunity to interact with various civil society actors, practitioners, academicians, or they go to various government departments, interact with them to get an understanding of some of these concerns or some of these ideas they develop during the commons term. And Practica usually the fellows do in small groups. So that's how the Practica works. So in the commons term then, through this theoretical or the disciplinary sections of 6 themes, plus the practicas and the lab you chose, will then help you to come up with a holistic understanding of urban, interdisciplinary and holistic understanding of urban practice. So now let's just move on to the other major part of the commons term, which we call core part.
Yeah, I think before that, what I would like to cover is the skill labs, because through the UFP, fellows are equipped with high level of technical, analytic and professional skills across disciplines and sectors. In the commons term, skill labs are mandatory for fellows, which actually represent a foundational learning of interdisciplinary sector and subjects of urban practice that all the fellows must learn and have as a tool with them to practice when they go out, right? These are designed for fellows without any previous kind of a training in all these skills that are there in the commons term, and fellows get a chance to work on these skills by themselves through the guidance of experts in that skill, and they also apply it in many of the methods and practica. As Neethi was telling about, practica is all about learning about your neighborhood. So the skill lab equips them to apply these methods and techniques to learn about spaces during practica. Some of the common skill labs in the commons term are about urban data analysis, spatial appreciation, which is through geospatial learning, framing the inquiry, like how do you really ask a question that you are thinking about and the idea that you have, or writing about the city and writing in the city. And some of the things like media skills and method skills in terms of qualitative, quantitative, ethnographic methods, to be specific. So skill lab in the commons term is mandatory, and everybody, all the fellows who are in the classroom have to take this skill lab. And in the elective term, the skill labs have, they go into a little wider kind of a range, and fellows can choose which skill and method to deepen their knowledge in. So skill labs in electives term are also taught using the applied learning by doing kind of a methodology, and they familiarize fellows with all the softwares on a state-of-the-art technology, and also different very latest kind of a platforms. And in the electives term, the fellows go through the skill labs like, more advanced spatial skills, project management skills, advanced ethnographic methods, or writing and digital media, advanced media, and also program designing, narrative and forming narrative and arguments, long form writing, and whole range of things that are available in the electives term for the skill labs, and to pick up these methods and techniques to apply in their practice, right? So skill lab is really about methods and about different technology and analytical kind of a tool. And coming to the core curriculum, which we introduced only last year to the fellows for the first time, has set of learning experiences and interactions and credited courses which are very grounded in experiential and local traditional knowledge. And we believe that these core courses help build a set of capacities and sensibilities in the fellows and make them kind of take the responsibility of their own development. These are personal and professional capacities that they see that they are working on through these courses, which are largely outside the conventional classroom setting. When they have to learn on experiential and activity-based skills, it has to be kind of out of the classroom setting. And some of the capacities or sensibilities include like critical thinking or problem identification, teamwork and collective problem solving, participation, negotiation, reflectivity, proposivity, and kind of reflexive capacity. And eventually it leads to individual and collective agency that we want the fellows to take away from this course. Core also facilitates learners' engagement with the importance of being situated in the place, committed to the place, empathetic to all the situations and contexts, and also handle the situations outside their own comfort zone, like dealing with conflicts and all those kind of things. Because it is an activity-based learning, it facilitates holistic human development, and it also enables learners to inculcate set of sensibilities which are actually grounded in the constitution of our country and constitutional values of our country. Currently, we have 3 layers in the core, which are listed on the slide, which is like grow, cook, and eat, play, and sustainable buildings. So, as the names suggest, we bring fellows on our campus where they have ample space to experiment many things, along with faculty who are guiding them through all the process of learning through activities. Like in the grow, cook, and eat, they see the entire process of right from land preparation to harvesting and processing of food, and also cooking it in a different scales, right? And in sustainable buildings, we kind of expose them to different sustainable building materials. How do we work with those materials? What are they useful for? What are the different techniques of building alternative methods of building a wall, building a floor, and different kind of techniques for roofs and also flooring. In the play, it is more of a disciplinary kind of a structured curriculum or a course, which brings a physical culture and a teamwork and a courage, which is highlighted in these courses, in this particular play course. So apart from, talking to other courses in the commons term or the skill labs, they also are interlinked with each other. So they inform different things of concepts and all that, from grow, cook, and eat to build and to play and many other things. So that is what is the core curriculum about in the UFP. And that runs throughout the program of commons and elective term. And going forward, there are different other things which are like masterclass and other things that maybe Neethi will touch upon.
So actually, master classes in that way is a major learning spaces for the fellows, right? So because it's in the master classes that the fellows get a chance to listen to, interact with, and to to get a closer look at how do some of the practitioners or how do some of the activists or even the thought leaders, how do they organize their work, or what are the challenges they face in their journey, or the organization, the growth and the whole journey of the organizations they set up and so on. That in a way actually help the fellows even to take some decisions in their own career path as well. So in that way, so these master classes are usually taken by people not outside our faculty, core faculty, and then we invite people from all over India, and sometimes we even get people from across the world, and it's a very interesting space, and fellows used to enjoy that space a lot.
Yeah, so master classes are not really tied to any kind of a commons layer or a elective course, but these are practitioners or thought leaders, as Neethi was pointing out. They touch upon their own trajectory in this space of working in the cities and urban areas. It might be just about the theoretical kind of a subject, or it could be even sometimes a practice related one. So that is how it ranges in the master classes space in this curriculum.
And then if we move from, this is people, places, so we can see that throughout the curriculum there is an interaction with people, places, and so on, right? So in the practica, we have seen that the fellows get a chance to go outside their classroom and they interact with the neighborhoods within Bangalore city itself. So that's where now comes the much more deeper or longer engagement with the field, which is outside Bangalore city, and sometimes it can be outside the state of Karnataka itself. So that's where the exposure visits come.
Yeah. So exposure visits are quite some kind of a learning activity for fellows in the entire UFP course. One of the exposure visits happen, like there are different exposure visits even in the elective term when people are actually offering different electives, I will come back to those list of electives that people have offered, and maybe range of different thematics that are covered. But in exposure visits, it is something like after the term of learning theory in the commons term and skills in the skill lab and going through practica, in all this commons term, fellows travel to new cities. They have seen Bangalore and the neighborhoods of Bangalore through practica and even some of the skill labs that we give them the topics of working with their hands, they travel to new cities. And I think so far in the UFP, we have touched a lot of cities across the country. Fellows in 2016-17 batch went to 5 cities: Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Kochi, and Madurai. The following 17-18 batch visited again Chennai, Mumbai, Amravati, and Vijayawada. And later in the 2 years before the COVID, exposure visits were conducted to Chennai and Mumbai. And now again after the COVID, 2022-23 batch fellows visited to Mumbai, Hyderabad, Trichy, and Tirunelveli. And in 2023-24, the batch which is there with us right now, they have also gone to the cities of Mumbai, Hyderabad, Trichy, and Tirunelveli. So what happens? The objective of these exposure visits is to, give an ideal opportunity to see how their ways of looking at urban has changed throughout this course of Commons and Practica and Skill Lab, right? The visits are curated by experts from the host city itself, be it Hyderabad or Mumbai or Chennai, to help them observe, help them diagnose and conceptualize different parts of the city, of that new city that they are looking at. Sometimes it could be fellow has come from that city itself, and their view of looking at their own city might be different, and it has changed because of the Commons term and the theories and concepts that they have touched and learned in that term, right? So in each city, the fellows meet with range of stakeholders, which includes like government officers, business leaders, civil society organizations, and many, many other stakeholders. And they also get an opportunity to learn about one particular question on urban services or affordable housing, environmental sustainability, transport and mobility, or employment, poverty, or small business development, particularly in that city, like different services and other sectors that they get to learn about. So exposure visits, in a way, whether it is to either big towns like these, Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and others, but to even small cities like Trichy and Tirunelveli, gave them a kind of exposure to maybe the projects which are implemented by IIHS or other partner organizations in IIHS. For example, in Trichy and Tirunelveli, I was hearing that they looked at the urban ecological project that we are doing in Tirunelveli, and also in Trichy about the solid waste management project that IIHS is part of. So these things are really important for any fellow to look at in terms of, what is the problem, what is the solution, how it is implemented, what are the stakeholders involved, and what are the processes followed, and those kind of things, And the discussions there are so rich that looking at it actually on the ground makes a difference than what happens and what is being taught and spoken in the classrooms, I think.
So then we can see that, in the structure itself. So the Commons term, which is actually stretching over 16 weeks, and then where the fellows get a theoretical and conceptual understanding, and then you get the first taste of field through the Practica, and you get to learn about the city in which you study. You're part of this Urban Fellows Program. And then there is, as Sheetal has explained about the electives term, where you actually select whatever, the choice of subjects, whatever you want to, you something closer to your heart, and sometimes it is related to your disciplinary background. Earlier, whatever I have explored that, okay, let me take an opportunity to explore a little bit more, or this is something which I have learned or identified during the commons term. So let me go deeper into something new in the electives terms and so on. And then these kinds of kind of disciplinary understanding, and to at some point a kind of a mix and match with these concepts, theories, questions, concerns, and so on. With that, and then of course the very detailed exposure visits, and then of course you get a chance to, your skill labs are there, and they get a chance to interact with this master people who come for the master classes. Now you're ready to move to the third term. That really enables you to move to the third term. That is the practice term. This is a 2-month-long practice term. So this practice term has actually, there are 3 streams of practice available to the fellows, and fellows can choose any one of these streams. So one is that the IIHS Live project. So these are the projects with the researchers at IIHS. We are engaging in these projects. So the fellows get a chance to work with the IIHS researchers, and these and being part of the projects which are mostly client-facing these projects. So they get a chance to be part of that. The second stream, independent projects. It's mostly kind of moving closer to those who want to, those who are much keen on going for the higher studies and to pursue the academia as a space where they want to pursue in future. Because this independent projects, the fellows are, those who have chosen to do the independent projects, they are supposed to come up with small thesis or dissertation.
Yeah.
So that's the outcome we expect from the fellows. So whatever knowledge you gathered through the previous 2 terms and the field work, fellows may identify a research question and work with a mentor placed in IIHS, and they involved in this independent project. And the third stream is internships. The internships further allows the fellows to go outside IIHS and involve with various types of organizations all over India, and these organizations can be, fellows are part of various development organizations and research institutions and civil society organizations, NGOs, think tanks, and various policy think tanks, and which other this thing?
Even academia.
Even academia, quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they are also part of various movements
Yeah.
and labor organizations. And there are, if you look at our website, you can see an interesting set of venues where our fellows do the internship. So that's where our practice term, we have structured it in this way.
Yeah. So I think a little bit we talked about the electives term. I'm just going back again, Neethi, for electives term, because many of the times what happens is in the electives term, fellows are kind of, looking at the commons term and their own interest, and then practica, and then the exposure visits and all that. And there is a kind of, not a confusion, but it feels that everything they want to learn, right? Like whatever the program is going to offer, they really want to choose everything and learn everything, which is of course not possible, right? Fellows will be able to choose only 4 to 6 electives, as Neethi was talking, and they are offered across different cycles. Like they range from being like 2 weeks to 4 weeks kind of a cycle, and which enables fellows to understand and engage and grapple with contemporary urban debates. And all the times, like all the UFP versions series now, electives courses are broadly kind of classified into 4 types, as on the picture. Some are sector specific, like housing policy and practice, or national urban mission, or urban finance, or urban health system. Those kind of a sector specific kind of electives. Next is kind of a thematic electives, like urban and regional economic development, or sustainable cities, or even energy and city, and those kind of things. Those are very thematic ones. And technical or methods kind of courses are maybe environment impact assessment, or many other different methodological or technological kind of oriented courses are there in that bucket. And the fourth one is theory courses, which are really oriented and based on theoretical concepts such as southern urban theory or economic theory or many other theories. Ecological theory, for example, are covered in these elective kind of type also. So many electives also combine different aspect of these four categories. It's not need not be, many of the electives need not be fitting very tightly into any of these types. They may cover many combination of
these
different types. And choices may vary year to year, like the elective which is offered this year for the fellows may not repeat.
That's true.
It all depends on, a faculty's kind of a willingness or faculty's interest, and also many of the times it happens that it is decided based on what kind of cohort is there, which is there in current fellows batch. So that is how the choices for the electives vary year on year.
That's true.
And they are ensuring that they cover all these four types. So we kind of have the electives pool which covers all these four
so
themes.
that means when we say that the 4 cycles,
Yes.
so each cycle we make sure that at least there will be a combination of these different category or different types of electives.
Right.
So when we, for instance, I teach an elective called work, labor and informality. It won't really come exactly under theory or thematic, but it's a combination of theory, thematic, and at the same time technical, because there are data analysis that we introduce data. So during the elective term, so that is one thing you get to see.
Right.
The choices are a kind of, you get, that's the confusion mostly the fellows face, what should I take? And then should I focus only on sectoral or theory, or shall I take a combination of all this, So that's the theory, the elective bit of it.
And also, like, people, when they finish one term, like commons term, which is finished, and then they come into the electives term, there is always, as I said, when they come back from exposure visit, the entire worldview has changed about the urban, right, for people. So what they were interested in at the beginning of the UFP, when they got into the program, may change drastically. And we as a faculty might be thinking that, this fellow is really very suitable for my course in the elective term, may not be there because it is understandable, right? And it has to happen. Like the view has to change, I think, when they go through this kind of a rigorous
absolutely. So that's where I think that, at the end of this program, 11-month long this program, we hope that our commons term, the understanding and all the knowledge you gather through the commons term, and then the vocabulary we collectively create in the commons term, and then the wherever you then find your heart is, in the elective term. And then, as Sheetal had rightly mentioned, then comes the exposure visits, and you realize, those two are not the thing, but this is what I want to experiment with. And then the practice term, we hope all this, together will help you, or to help to develop an interdisciplinary urban practitioner. That's what we are looking forward to.
Right.
And we hope we will see many of you in our 2024-25 batch, and looking forward to having you over and interact with you.
Just before, I think we take some kind of queries or Neethi, you want to touch upon a little bit on a pedagogy, like how we mix also many things, right? Because everything remains the same.
That's
right?
true. So the mixed pedagogy comes from the faculty interdisciplinary background of the faculty, right? So here, interestingly, me and Sheetal, both of us have, I think, I have we have economics background, but we both practice a different kind of economics,
Correct.
So I mostly use critical geography as a tool for doing my teaching and my research and my reading. But
mine is a resource use and material flow
kind of a thing. So if you look at the faculty pool we have here, even if the faculty who are coming from similar academic background or disciplinary background, our practice or our research will be quite different.
Quite different,
This is
yes.
apart from the faculty coming from a different disciplinary background altogether.
Right.
So we have, so in the commons term, as you can see here, these layers, or the themes here. So naturally the urban economy, that's one thing which I anchor here. So I can tell you that in the classroom, so all the faculty, we come together in the classroom, and unlike the other learning spaces here, it will be, the teaching will also be a kind of a joint effort, where the faculty, at least in this layer, I can tell you the faculty members, I'm the only one coming from economics background, and there are faculty members coming from sociology, social anthropology, and then coming from planning, and so even to teach one layer or one theme itself, we will see the faculty members coming from interdisciplinary background. And that's what it's not just the interdisciplinarity is not just in the classroom. In the sense, not just the fellows come from interdisciplinary background, but that's what, as I had mentioned earlier, the lens, the interdisciplinary lens, and again, please remember, we collectively develop that lens in the classroom. This is where the interdisciplinarity becomes so important. And similarly, if you look at the skill labs, also we can see that, so the same faculty who is interested or who is working in climate change and migration, must be, some faculty must be focusing on highly quantitative and some methods, but some other faculty must be looking at the same issue from a highly qualitative or ethnographic, to using the ethnographic tools. So that's where we can see that that interdisciplinarity is coming.
Yeah. I can also talk about this urban ecology, environment and sustainability layer in the commons term, and that is where I think, as Neethi said, all faculty, when they come together, in this layer specifically, we have ecologists, we have landscape specialists, we have hydrologists, we have climate researchers, and we have economics like me. So what happens there is the pedagogy really doesn't remain, which is really relevant to your discipline, but it becomes really interdisciplinary again. The pedagogy itself, the curriculum itself is interdisciplinary, but pedagogy also becomes like that. When in urban ecology and environment class, we are talking about, for example, urban biodiversity, it never sounds, or it never, strikes any kind of a tune in the class. But when we take them out, teach them what do we mean by urban biodiversity on the field, it really makes the difference. So that is what we bring into this kind of a layers, where pedagogy is interdisciplinary, curriculum is interdisciplinary, and the richness of deep disciplinary expertise, but also kind of openness to apply it in interdisciplinary issues and problems that we face. Many of the times, all the problems in urban that we face are not with single kind of a disciplinary problems. Right?
So it's a kind of, I would say here, it's a kind of consciously designed pedagogy in that way, right?
Correct.
So as you rightly mentioned, because the tomorrow, if you go to the real world or real neighborhood, or it's not that one frame which is going to give you a solution for all, or help you to understand everything. It is here that our interdisciplinary nature, and that I can tell you that's why the curriculum is very consciously framed in this way.
Correct. Yeah. So I think we have covered almost all the kind of aspects of the curriculum and how it really spans in that entire 11 months of program. Maybe we should stop and see if people have any queries or any clarifications for us. Yeah. Yeah, as in the chat box that from our colleagues, people are talking about the admissions are open for the next batch for 24-25. and you will get a lot of information and many details about this program on the website. So we request you all to please take a moment to browse through our UFP website, which is there in the chat box. Somebody will put it, what is the website, and also these webinars and talks with experts, talks with employers in the earlier alumni, all those things which are happening now on this space for next some weeks, and that will give you a more idea about what happens in particular kind of aspect of the UFP, right? So and that's how these webinars are organized. And if you have any questions or queries, please drop them on the chat box. If somebody can put the website also, it will be useful, the UFP website, in the chat box, so that people have the quick browse through.
So as you can see here, our next webinar is on April 4th, right? Yeah, that's when you get a chance to interact with our internship partners from private sector. Yeah.
Okay, so I think let's go to the Q&A box and see what we have here.
I can't see. What? Can you read?
I'm from Ethiopia. Can I get the chance as a fellow?
Unfortunately, for now, the program is limited only to the Indian citizens. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a. So I fear you may not be able to be part of this program, right?
Yeah. There's another question anonymously asked. Suppose this is a particular.
There is a particular issue one is interested in. Do the mentors help in changing it through the course? Particular thematic issue one is interested in. Do the mentors help in channelizing it through the course? I was just thinking changing. That's why I reread it.
Channelizing.
Of course. So throughout this program, that is another thing. The interaction at each and every stage, it's not that we are just going to throw you out there and telling you, okay, this is how it is. But each and every stage, there will be interaction, and the faculty are here. And then we have, apart from the usual office hours, so here you're free to write to us, free to meet us, free to approach us. And especially, you will see that when we think about the interdisciplinary background and when we consider that's actually a virtue for us, but we are also aware of the challenges of that also, right? So the majority of the class must be even hearing some of these terms first time.
Correct.
So it comes with its own challenges, and of course the faculty will be there to help you to kind of to understand it and to explain it to you, and that is there. And another stage, when the initial phase is one point, we see fellows need a lot of hand holding, that is there. And another stage is the elective cycle. That's when again we could see that the fellows will have a lot of confusion and this thing. So faculty are there, always discuss with the faculty. And then of course the practice term, because many of them first time actually thinking about having a research. So I'm interested in this topic and I think I can do research, but is it a good idea or shall I go for internship? So at each and every stages, faculty members, and of course we have a very effective academic office there to handhold you, to guide you through this whole process, Yes.
Yeah.
So
I completely agree with Neethi that I think what I would like to mention is that throughout the commons term, throughout the elective term, faculty set up office hours for all the fellows requiring kind of a guidance or some more kind of information and network and all those kind of things. Faculty set up office hours after teaching schedule. So many of the fellows make use of that to understand and channelize, like as exactly asked by the person.
Yes.
Channelize their issues, and through different things that they can get to what they want to do.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Something in the other on also 30.
Okay. So, yeah, that is, I think, chat. But maybe there are questions like, I don't know, I can't see this
Even
now.
I find it is a bit difficult.
The font is really
small.
So, I'm trying to see how can I...
As you can see, both of us have our glasses and then we are trying to make the... or Aditya, if you want to, just wait, Aditya. We are just trying to...
can somebody from admin's office say the question?
Yeah, hi Neethi and Sheetal.
Yeah.
Hi.
And hello to all the participants. This is administration support for the webinar. Aditya Kumar asks, is it suitable for a candidate who has PhD in environmental sociology and has gone through urban sociology course during MA? Thank you.
Yeah. So the interdisciplinary background, I'm sure won't stop you from, being part of this program and then enjoying this program. But our concern, the one thing, Aditya, you may want to keep in mind that the applicants can be from any background, but disciplinary background, but they have to be in 30 years or below, and then Indian citizens. That's the only criteria.
Yeah. So what I feel is that having a PhD or having an interdisciplinary PhD should not be stopping you from exploring UFP. But having said that, I would suggest that there has to be some kind of a objective or a purpose in what is that. After PhD that you want to see, and what you want to really add value to PhD. So it's by saying that, I'm no means saying that you cannot apply. It is already said that only criteria we have is age and the citizenship, and having a PhD or having some courses done in MA in your post-graduation program or in your undergrad doesn't really matter in terms of having you as a fellow. Okay, there's a question on if a learner is from science or technology background, how will the program help to acquire urban knowledge?
So, you can see that the profile of our fellows,
so diverse.
So diverse, and science, fellows from science, pure science background or technology background is actually one of the major chunk of our learners, So in that way, again, to the very first part, I know I may be moving a little away from exact question. So in that way, the program won't be, you won't find it as it won't actually stop you from being part of the program. And another thing is that as we have mentioned earlier, the whole purpose of this program is to actually teach you how to think about urban from an interdisciplinary lens, and how to become, the purpose of the program is to kind of develop or to help you to become an urban practitioner, So in that way, your past learning won't stop you from learning any of these things. In fact, we hope that some of your learning, whether the fellows coming from science background or technology background, they can bring in a lot of inputs to the classroom, and the components of this program or the curriculum structure of this program at various levels, people with these background can involve well and can participate well and can contribute better than students coming from, or the fellows coming from other background. So in that way, the learning and the contribution to the class and working in a team, that also matters a lot for the Urban Fellows
Correct.
program, right?
Correct.
So that all this won't really stop you from, your
Yeah.
background won't stop you. On the other side, these insights may actually help you further if you want to kind of want to make a career choices in the
Correct.
field of urban or urban practice as such. Or sometimes we can see that many of our students who are coming from, especially from architecture background, so the learning from the classroom actually help them to go back to the practice quite a
Yes.
lot and find whatever their disciplinary background, this lens or this understanding helps them kind of to understand their background or their areas in a much more meaningful manner,
Correct.
Yeah.
So one thing to add about is that the question is not like how the program will help or whether the program will help to acquire urban knowledge. It is actually to enhance whatever you know about the urban, right? With the science and technology kind of a lens, you may be looking at urban in a different manner than when you have your peer who is looking at urban from a sociological or from anthropological or from ecological kind of a interdisciplinary lens, right? So it's really adding value or adding a different kind of a perspective to whatever lens you are using through your disciplinary background, and you are kind of very really tuning that lens in whatever way you like to do. Whatever disciplinary kind of a understanding that you want to add to your own discipline that you
Absolutely,
bring
yeah,
in, right? So actually it will enhance whatever you know. No doubt it will add to whatever knowledge you have, but also it enriches
whatever knowledge you already come
have.
with.
Yeah.
The other question is also interesting. What aspect of the curriculum help learners to develop research capacity if they want to pursue PhD in the future? So even when we say that this program actually aims to develop interdisciplinary urban practitioners, but the whole interdisciplinary approach, along with, as you can see here, that we have a very clear, I would say kind of devoted time and space for something like skill labs. So skill labs there are qualitative skill labs and quantitative skill labs and GIS skill labs and various forms of skill labs that actually to focus more on and sharpen your technical skills. And similarly, it is, there are various classes which look at how to frame research questions and how to, and of course the very fact about going to the field and to think through how do we identify a question or how do we actually talk to a stranger in the field, right? Or how do I frame my research question and the questionnaire, and how do I when we as a group or me as at some point you will be doing this as an individual learner, some point you will be in a group. So as a group, how do we identify that these are the themes we are interested in, and then from that theme, how to frame a research question. And from that research question, then how do we collect data? And then the challenges of collecting, how do we decide this is a method we have to apply in the field? And then the next thing of, okay, we applied this method and then we collected this data. Now, how do we analyze this whole data? So we can see that, the whole process of research or different steps of research a PhD candidate or a PhD scholar has to undergo. Here also we can see in different spaces you will be undertaking the same. So in that way, those who, and of course now when you see in the practice term, so we have one stream is actually undertaking independent research projects, right? So that is another step for you to look at, to produce your own small thesis or dissertation. So in that way, I would say that throughout the UFP program, it is actually in a way enabling those who want to select, those who want to move towards academia or to pursue PhD and higher studies.
Yeah. In a way, like maybe the practica that we have in the commons term is something which is like is prepping the learners to in this trajectory, like you have the field, you have the research question, you know the concepts that you have gone through in the commons term or going through while you are doing the practica, and that is what you use, you apply in your practica study, right? Which is a place-based kind of a study. So it's a kind of enabling.
That's
I
true.
think.
I would say this is where the very first question about, how do will the faculty channelize? So usually, this is very much part of the program that whether you're working in a smaller group or you are an individual or as an individual assignment, it is, faculty are there to guide you, but it is the fellows or the smaller groups that it is their duty to or their responsibility to identify the question. So you remember, this practica team going to the field multiple times and coming back and telling, what should be the research question? Can you please give us the research question? We are like, no, we are not here to give. That is what your job, So why I'm saying this is, we understand that, the importance of engaging yourselves based on your classroom learning and based on your field reflections to frame it, to come to the stage of framing a research question, what we call framing an inquiry, So all these are very much part of the program. So I hope those who want to pursue PhD, these insights will be really helpful.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I think we are almost time to close. Any final questions or anything?
Yeah, but I think, again, I will reiterate that people who are interested in exploring what is this space, please go through the website, and the admissions for the next cycle are open. They will be open till 15th of April. And meanwhile, we are also organizing, we are also doing these webinars and masterclasses to make you understand a little better about what is this program all about. And please take a closer look and be updated about what is happening in this space.
Yeah, check the space.
Yeah.
So we look forward to having you over, and we hope this webinar in that way was useful and which we could give you satisfactory answers to some of your concerns and queries. So
yeah,
I think
thank you
so much for joining today and for your for listening to us and then asking us these questions. So
yeah, and if any further questions are there, there is also email ID, and also people are available on call to answer some questions if anybody has at any given point of time. So we look forward to having at least some of you in classrooms
in 2024-25 batch.
Yeah, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.